Oh no.
It's time again, people. I'm excited.
I had to prevent that from spilling over. Did you shake my beer?
No. So I did a dangerous joke yesterday. Dangerous joke. So I'm sitting there, I'm making dinner with my girlfriend, and I go, you know what? She's like, what? I'm like, I wouldn't ever call you a bitch. But if I did, I'd call you a fine-ass bitch. That was it. That's all I said.
Wow.
I thought it was funny.
Treading some hard waters there, bud.
Yeah.
What did she say?
Well, I slept on the couch.
Yeah. That's a good response. She's like, okay, well, I would never call you a dick, but you're a dick. What are we drinking tonight?
So this is called Secret Spot.
Ooh. You know, life is all about searching for that secret spot. I've only found it a couple times.
It's a good spot.
It's just a moment of silence there.
That's a good beer. I like it. All right.
It's not bad. And, we're being pretty boring this week. We realized we don't really have any, I went out of town, which was pretty fun. We went to Arizona again. Oh, I got another tattoo.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So my grandma, before she passed, on our birthday, she would make us what she called birthday pancakes. And it was like a tower of pancakes that would decrease in size, and she put a candle on top. So I got a birthday stack of pancakes.
Aw. If someone gave you $100 million
That's a lot of money.
To get a full body Kermit the Frog tattoo, all green, across the body, and you had to get naked and chase people in the park once a year, would you do it?
First of all, that's a felony. That second part, I'd be spending a lot of time in jail.
Yeah, when you're rich, dude, you don't go to jail. You're like, I have $100 million.
It's like, I have to do this to get that kind of money. So you understand I have no choice but to chase people once a year naked through the park.
I'm not having fun either, I swear.
This is terrible. No, I wouldn't do it.
You know, what we lack in the original content center, we make up for the episode. So what are we covering today? What topic?
Well, as promised from our last episode when I covered something called the Black Hope Curse, I'm going to go into way more detail this week on that curse.
And that means I'll be talking about spooky cemeteries.
So you're just talking about other scary cemeteries then, huh?
Yep, people of Reddit, what have you experienced in a cemetery?
Isn't every cemetery scary, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you're by the dead. It's sacred ground. Sacred ground. It's hallowed ground, You don't want to disrespect the elders, or maybe something will follow you home.
Oh, yeah, and that's exactly what's going to happen in the Black Hope Curse. We're going to find out firsthand why you do not mess and desecrate with cemeteries. And we've all seen, the Poltergeist? Is that the movie where they build the house on the hollowed ground and they're digging the pool and all the bones come up? That was Poltergeist, right?
The Indian burial ground?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I always get that and The Exorcist mixed up.
No, it's definitely not The Exorcist.
That was the one with Reagan and she pukes. Yeah. Okay, so it is the Poltergeist. I know what I'm talking about. I know all the things. We'll probably just do typical fashion where I'll start with the main story and then we'll do some episodic breaks for Cleet and his stories.
All right, buckle up, guys. It's going to get scary.
It's going to get spooky. And I think we should probably turn the spirit box on.
Oh, did you bring it?
I did bring it.
Let's talk to Chris tonight.
We're going to do it. Stay tuned to the end to hear what Chris has to say. Okay, so Black Hope Curse. In 1982, a married couple by the names of Sam and Judith Haney purchased a home in the Newport area of Houston, Texas. They were not the only couple buying at this time. In fact, quite a few couples and families were also purchasing property and moving in. So it's like a new subdivision. It's like the nice place to be.
Yeah. For some reason, that name really strikes out to me, the Black Hope Curse.
Yep.
It's really unnerving.
Yeah. It's not a good thing, man. So this area was described as upscale with neatly maintained yards and homes. So this was definitely the place to be. This is like that new neighborhood where you're like, hell yeah, I've finally made it. Sam described it as their dream home and went on to say, when we bought the house in Newport, it was the house that we had always been looking for. So it was the house that we intended to stay at for a long period of time.
I can imagine them moving in and they're just a happy family and they're like, nothing will ruin this for us. Hope nothing goes wrong.
We have found our secret spot. For the first year, things seemed too good to be true for the family. They then decided that it was time to make the house even fancier by putting in a pool. Because that's what rich people do. They put in pools.
This is following like the legit script from the Poltergeist.
Yeah, it is. The digging began and was moving along nicely. Suddenly, an older man showed up at their doorstep with an ominous message about bodies being buried in their backyards. And if they continued to dig, they would uncover the remains.
So first of all, hang on. If I were digging and someone came to me and said that there's bodies in my ground, I would probably call the cops because I would assume that he put the bodies there.
Right. But that's where you would call the cops is the second the guy came and say, hey, you got bodies in your backyard.
Yeah.
At first, Sam thought that the old man might be kidding, but couldn't decide why someone would make a joke like that in the first place. Like, hey, guess what, pal? You're going to have a nice pool, but you got to get past the bodies. That's just not something you just joke. I mean, I don't know. I think I would do that joke with like a family or something. You just go to your neighbor's house. Hey, I notice you're putting in a pool. Just make sure you go around the bodies.
Now, I'm going to specifically go out of my way if my neighbors ever dig a pool, I'm going to do that. Like, hey, there's some bodies under there. Recent corpses.
No, I think the problem that your neighbors are going to have is digging around all the shit you throw in their backyard. All the stuff you don't want.
If I don't need some, I just throw it past my property line.
Right. So being extremely curious, Sam continued to dig with a backhoe and in no time struck something that wasn't dirt.
Tell me it's teeth.
He discovered 2 pine boxes, each having an indentation of a skeletal form. First of all, how would you know if you hit teeth? You're like, oh, that's teeth. Some big ass teeth.
Yeah.
What are you talking?
You just perfectly hit that tooth.
Like a giant
tooth. Holy
like,
God, that's a teeth.
That's a dragon tooth.
That's a teeth.
That is a teeth. That is one teeth. Sam quickly called the sheriff, so it took him a little longer to call the cops than you would have. Realizing that he had, in fact, dug up human remains and was in a very big panic. An official exhumation was conducted. Most of the bones had turned to powder. However, they were able to find 25 fragments, most being extremely brittle, and would disintegrate upon touching. Among the discovery were 2 wedding rings on the fingers.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, pawn those off. It's going to help you finish your pool.
Yeah. Anything, so I'd be happy.
That's so terrible. Hell yeah. I was scared about the bodies, but you see this? We got rings now. The Haneys were curious.
Sorry.
What?
I wonder, like, how prevalent grave robbing now is, like, in our present day.
I don't think it's very prevalent.
I'm sure if the cemetery isn't under, like, camera, I wouldn't be that surprised. Yep. Especially if you hear a rumor that, like, the grandma was buried with, like, this wedding ring that's, like, $15,000. Why not? I mean, I'm not saying we should do it, but, like, to a criminal.
Cleet's like,
to a criminal, not me. That would be pretty tempting.
I'm going to come over next time and you're all covered in dirt. You're like, don't mind that shovel. Anyway, Cleet, why do you have like $25,000 in cash? Shut up.
Shut up. Mind your business.
Mind your own damn business. So the Haneys were curious as to who the remains belonged to, and upon investigating, they were led to a longtime resident named Jasper Norton. Jasper informed the couple that during his teenage years, he had dug several graves in that area. He continued to tell them that their house, among several others in the area, were actually built on top of an old cemetery called Black Hope.
Wow.
Yeah, this is just like Poltergeist all over again.
Yeah.
The cemetery was the resting place of mainly former slaves. The final burial had been performed in 1939, so, just a couple weeks ago. Overall, the cemetery grounds had as many as 60 graves. 60!
Yeah, I'd imagine the energy probably wasn't that positive there.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Sadly, during construction of the subdivision, construction crews had destroyed all traces of the gravesite, so this place just has bad juju all over. They're like building shit, like, oh shit, I just went over some tombstones. Oh, I'll just bury it.
Earl, I found another femur. What do I got to do with it? Just throw it out back.
Throw it in the wood chipper.
Throw it over the property line. It's not our fault. It's not our problem anymore.
Yeah, we were just told to come dig and build shit. So I think that we all know and have a good understanding that building shit on top of a gravesite is not a good thing, right? I think we can agree that that's not a good thing. So we are in for some crazy shit. It was discovered and revealed that the remains dug up in the Haneys' backyard belonged to Charlie and Betty Thomas, both of which were born into slavery and freed during the Civil War. They died sometime in the 1930s. So, I have a question for you, Cleet. So let's say you're in the Haney situation, right? You're digging a pool in your backyard. You dig up human remains. Like, what's your next step after you've dug them up?
Well, I'd continue building the pool.
What do you do with the bodies, though?
Well, you said they disintegrated. There's nothing there, right?
Well, there's still some fragments.
Yeah, I just throw them in the garbage can.
Oh, my God.
What?
That's totally a Cleet thing to do.
Yeah, they're not. They're dead. I might keep the rings, you know. I might wear them.
Man, you're just like itching to piss off the ghosts.
Yeah, I'd be waltzing in the back saying, "Look, I'm so-and-so. The couple that was buried here. Look at me."
So you dig them up. You're like, where's the nearest trash can? Yeah, that's good. So I'm glad to know what you would do. I don't know what I would do because, like, what do you like? How do you move a body to another? I don't know what you do.
Yeah, it's called the trash.
Yikes! Well, now you got me thinking. Like, how many bone fragments and bodies are in like the dump?
Oh yeah, I guarantee you, there's a lot. A lot of people, they cut them up, put them in garbage bags, and just throw them in the old WM wastebasket.
You could be like Dexter and throw them in the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, that's probably smarter.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could bury them like under the pool, but like think about it, every time you do a cannonball, like you're cannonballing over some corpses.
You know they're finding bodies in barrels now in some lakes that have been receding a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I actually wanted to do a topic on that, like the strangest, like or craziest bodies recovered from lakes and oceans. And
oh yeah,
because we talked about what was it, Lake Michigan?
No, it was Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe. Yeah, that's the one that has like the freaking tornadoes of bodies underneath.
Way deep.
So, before we jump into all the crazy shit that starts happening, we're going to jump over to you now.
All right. Tales from the cemetery.
Tales from the crypt. The crypt keeper.
I'm the crypt keeper. This story is from Mrs. Drummy. A friend and I were driving around a cemetery one afternoon. It was a thing we used to do. I've always been fascinated with old headstones, etc. I had never heard of a mausoleum before, and this cemetery had small family ones. And so I told my friend I was going to go look inside to see what it looked like. I got out of my car, and I was walking, talking to the spirits, and I said, "I'm just curious to see what this building is. Please let me know if you don't want me to come any nearer." I got up to the windows, and I could see inside, and there was a bench inside, and then a door to go in. I turned towards the door, and immediately got the message that I shouldn't go any further. It was this really intense feeling of a presence. So I just said aloud, "Thank you for letting me find out what this building is. I'm leaving now."
So formal.
Yeah, right? Nothing followed me home, and I've always talked to graves as I walk by. I think as long as you're respectful to a resting place, they oftentimes enjoy being remembered or thought of.
See, I was just going to say, it's just because he was so polite. Like, "Hey, let me know if you want me to come any further." And then he gets his present. She's like, "Okay, I will see myself out now. Hope you have a pleasant afterlife."
Yeah, I would have just gone in. I would love to see the inside of a mausoleum. Like, I wouldn't be overly disrespectful.
Yes, you would.
But, you know, I might be like, "Hey, if you want me out, do something cool."
Do something crazy.
Yeah. This one is from I Bird Take Flight. I've been drawn to the paranormal since an early age. There was a creepy small cemetery in rural Illinois that I'd go to at night to take pictures from grade school through early college. It was fairly old. There were graves from the 1800s as well as people from today. There wasn't a lot of houses around either, just farms spread out across cornfields. Over the years, I collected a few pictures of orbs and some mist, a few of which are here. So let me pull it.
We got pictures, huh?
Yeah, we'll put this on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
So what do you think about this picture right here?
The Dickens?
Kind of it's just an orb, right?
It's I think that's a moth.
I think it's like a speck, that got lit up with a flash. I don't know. Orbs, I always just think there could be like an explanation.
There's too many debunks for orbs.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, think it could be super convenient for ghosts. They're like, dude, they think it's anything.
Those guys are idiots. We're fucking haunting the shit out of them. They think it's specks.
You're all like cleaning your living room, and man, it's fucking dusty in here. That's just a ghost orgy.
Yeah, it's not your skin cells. It's ghosts doing it. I've had quite a few experiences as a result of these visits. The one that makes me feel the least comfortable goes like this. It was a quiet night at the cemetery taking pictures with my father and younger brother. The early days of my excursions out there in the dead of night. No strangeness or anything out of the ordinary occurred while we were there. Just a cool night out in the country under a billion stars. When we got home, we put my dad's SD card in the computer and discovered that he had gotten quite a good picture of a ghostly mist over a grave. I don't have the picture, but it looked like you could have been holding a lit cigarette under the lens. You get the idea. Kind of seems convenient he doesn't have it, though. I would like to see that picture. Didn't upload it. Not long afterwards, our dog started barking out the window next to the computer. He barked consistently for about 20 minutes. It wasn't odd for him to bark outside. It was the timing. So we went outside and looked around, but there were no squirrels or any other creatures of the night. So I went to bed and passed out. I opened my eyes to see a red digital clock, and it read 3 a.m. I sleep with no lights, so my room was pitch black. And over the stillness of the night, he hears this faint sliding sound. Back to first person. It was very smooth, like soft wood on a carpet. My eyes were open, but my mind was mostly asleep, so I didn't really process the sound and went back to sleep. I woke up in the morning for school and looked at my desk in the corner of the room. The wooden chair had been pulled out from my desk and turned to face my bed perfectly.
Damn.
That's creepy as
someone was sitting there watching you sleep.
Dude, that's so creepy. That's one of like my fears ever since Sinister, is someone just watching me sleep because you're so vulnerable.
That movie, I swear to God, and I
comes
think
up a lot.
We've talked about it a lot, but like that is one of the movies that genuinely like freaked me out.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me uneasy from the soundtrack to the little home movie shit. Like that movie was brutal.
It's well done. So, my desk was right next to the door in my room, and if the chair wasn't pushed in, then I wouldn't be able to get out. So I always kept it in when I wasn't using it. The implication of this still gives me chills every time I think about it. That experience changed the way I approach the paranormal. Since then, when I'm leaving a place after poking around, I'm always very polite but firm in saying aloud that potential spirits are not welcome to follow me home, and it's pretty worked for me ever since. I ended up having a few more strange things happen in my room over the course of about a year. There'd be the occasional but very obvious feeling of a presence, day and night, and one night I was wide awake in bed when I felt like someone sat on the end of it. I made a bargain with this spirit not long after that. If it must stay, that it can have my room for half of the day when I was gone, but must leave me alone when I'm home. I was never bothered again. That's one of my experiences.
The ghost is like, oh, I think that's a pretty reasonable request.
Yeah, it was really polite. This guy's really polite.
You get home and I'll just go to the living room then.
Yeah.
I'll just sit in this other chair.
So, pretty spooky story in my opinion. I like this one.
That was good. The chair thing does freak me out though.
Oh yeah, just the idea of someone just staring at you for hours.
So back to the Black Hope curse. So they just dug up the bodies, or what remains, all the powder and stuff, and so that's where we're at. So the Haneys, at this point, are feeling really guilty for disturbing the resting place of this married couple. And like Cleet, they're not like looking to say, hey, where's the trash can?
Hey, you know what they did with mummies though, right? From Egypt?
Like at what stage?
In the 1900s. Early 1900s, they would ground mummies into flakes. They put it on their food and eat it.
Are you serious? Like, who's they?
Like America.
Like America?
Yeah. They ended up like running low on mummies. Like, I'm not kidding. It happened.
Why? Like, what is the purpose?
Mummy flakes, man.
Mummy flakes. That's the purpose.
Mummy.
What's the purpose? I feel like you're bullshitting me.
I think it's true. We'll look maybe in another episode.
True.
I recall this. Like, I'm 95% sure.
You've heard
but
this
I'm saying
before.
that these people could have made mummy flakes.
They didn't. I'm blown back.
It's part of a healthy diet. Yeah.
I disagree entirely.
Sometimes you just got to put your head back, open your mouth, and put some mummy flakes in there.
I don't even know how to feel right now. You look so sincere. Like, you made the most direct eye contact. That's the most serious I've ever seen you be.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen. It was on the History Channel. It was on the History Channel.
Okay, so we will absolutely be circling back to mummy flakes because I think you're full of shit.
Let us know in the comments section.
Yeah, please. I want to know, all you people out there who have either tasted mummy flakes or even think it's a real thing.
Oh, they don't have it anymore. That's totally illegal.
Oh, yeah. I would think so. Maybe that's what grave robbers do. They're like, I need some seasoning. Fuck this salt. I need some mummy flakes. Kidding me. So they made the ultimate decision to have them reburied in the same place. So they just reburied them. And didn't throw them away. Didn't grind them up in a pepper grinder. They were desperately hoping that the spirits would continue to rest in peace and that nothing would come of it. But if that were the case, let's be honest, we wouldn't be covering it on our show.
Let's hear what happened.
So I'm not quite sure how quick these events started happening after the reburial, but I'm thinking it was pretty quick, probably a couple days after. The first strange occurrence came from a clock in the bedroom. Judith stated, "There was a clock in my bedroom, and one night it started sparking and putting out a sort of blue glow. She went over to check on it, and to her surprise, the clock had been unplugged."
Huh.
Another night, Sam was stuck working the night shift, leaving Judith alone at home. When she finished with her shower, she claimed to hear the sliding door open and shut, followed by someone asking, "What are you doing?" Naturally, she assumed it was her husband, but she quickly found out that he wasn't there. She said, "I heard the sliding glass door open, and I heard what I thought was Sam saying, 'What are you doing?' Everything was quiet. The sliding glass doors were locked, and I thought, well, you must be losing your mind. This really must be getting to you." But much to my amazement, that's not where the story ended. In the morning, I awoke, went to my closet to get my red shoes, and I could not find them anywhere.
They stole her shoes?
Sam, the next day, helped her all throughout the house trying to find these shoes. Like, they're looking everywhere. The closets, under the bed, everything. And they just could not find where the shoes are at. Finally, when they were outside some time later, Sam spotted something over the gravesite in the backyard, which turned out to be her shoes. What would you do?
Fucking ghosts are trolling them. I'd go grab the shoes and I would say something rude.
Like, spit over it?
I'd be like, first of all, bitches, like, we put you back in there. These are our shoes. Leave us alone.
You're such a nice guy, Cleet. It was as if someone had just picked them up and placed them right over the gravesite. It was later discovered, though, that the day the shoes had gone missing had been Betty's birthday, the girl who had been buried.
Aw,
and
they just put on some nice clothes. It's cute.
Well,
it's kind of heartwarming.
Right, and they thought that it was simply Charlie, the husband, trying to give her a present.
Aw, that's sweet.
So there's like a nice little thing about it. It's like, hey, happy birthday, here's some red shoes I stole from these living people.
First it's sour, then it's sweet.
After this realization, Judith realized that this wasn't all in her head and that the spirits were acting out, so to speak, for the disturbance of their resting place. The Haneys were not the only victims to the strange occurrences that started to happen. All over the neighborhood, reports of water faucets, televisions, lights turning on and off began to appear. Other reports included supernatural apparitions and unearthly sounds which started to become malicious in nature. So the whole neighborhood, after they buried these corpses, started having all these crazy shit happening.
So literally the poltergeist movies happening in real life.
Literally. I wonder if they took it from this.
Yeah, it kind of seems like they did.
Another couple that had moved into the neighborhood by the names of Ben and Jean Williams started to have occurrences of their own. Jean noticed that no matter what she did, all of her plants and flowers would begin to die. She stated that sinkholes resembling coffins began to appear around her flower beds, and every time she attempted to fill them in, they would just reappear. The couple noticed strange slash marks on a tree near one of the sinkholes. It resembled an arrow pointing towards the ground, and beneath it were two horizontal slash marks. Another longtime resident of the area told the couple that he had marked the tree as two of his sisters were buried beneath it. There's just so much death in this neighborhood. The couple began to feel guilty like the Haneys for desecrating the resting place and soon started to experience other phenomena. Random shadows were seen sliding along the walls, which were accompanied by a strange whisper and horribly putrid smells. That would just freak me out. Walking down the hall to the bathroom, you see a shadow and like something's whispering at you and it smells like poop.
Who used the bathroom before me?
Ghost, at least you can turn on the fan. The Williams' granddaughter, Carly, lived with them and would state that during the blazing hot summer months, she would randomly encounter bone-chilling cold pockets outside. She said it would be very, very chilly, and you'd have this feeling of foreboding, or just, like something wasn't right. Anywhere in the house, you'd have a feeling that you were not alone. Somebody was watching you. It terrified me to be in the house by myself. Carly also recalled other instances, saying the toilets used to flush on their own. As the water went down, I could hear what was almost like conversations. You could hear people murmuring to themselves. It was a presence or spirit or something there.
You just hear yeah, I stole her shoes.
Yeah, did you see the shoes that I stole? It was great. Man, I fucked with her clock that one morning. That was awesome. Something that wanted to be heard, wanted me to know that it was there. Jean talked of an incident during one of their naps, stating that they heard the back door open and close and the sound of footsteps getting closer to them, but no one else was there. Jean believed that they were being tormented simply for being on the gravesite and that it wouldn't stop as long as they were there. She asked and pleaded with her husband Ben to leave, but he felt it was best to stay and fight whatever was happening to them. Ben was also experiencing these events and even stated that he saw 2 ghostly apparitions in the house when he returned home from the night shift. He said that he watched the figures go down the hall toward their bedroom, and he decided to follow them. To his horror, he saw them standing over Jean as she slept in the bed, and fearing for her safety, he launched himself into the bed, causing the figures to vanish.
Okay, so you're in a real haunting, Britton. What would you do?
If I was him?
Yeah, like your house, the one you live in right now, is just haunted as hell.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say because, it's like the be careful what you wish for, but I wish some stuff like that would happen to me. Like, they could experience kind of like a haunting thing. Only for a little bit, though. I don't want it to be forever, but...
I know what I'd do.
You just shoot it?
In fact, I do it to Chris. I scare him back. See an apparition, kind of just get some knives.
You're like, boom!
Go, and then run towards it.
Okay, so before we wrap up the story, Cleet's gonna take us back to some more crazy grave sites.
Some cemetery candy.
Cemetery candy. Some mummy flakes, if you will.
All right, this story's from Rose Buns. My grandparents had a ghost that sort of had a run of the house when they were gone. It never bothered me, but you would just get a weird feeling when they left the house. My uncle said they would hear it come down the attic when it thought no one was there. Both of them say they saw it peer at them from the hallway a few times. That just creeps me the fuck out. You just see a head come across looking at you.
Nope.
No.
Not here. No.
I heard it say my name once, and if I was there alone, I pretty much stayed up in the living room, waited for them to come back. Pretty freaky.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. The next one is by Delete It.
These ones are good.
I love going to cemeteries at night, and I drag my friends along, but they end up having a good time. I like to do it mostly because of photography. There was a time where my camera would not focus at all, and when it would focus, the shutter wouldn't close and refused to take pictures. I also got a lot of orb pictures. Those could just be odd coincidences, but of course, I'd like to think it's paranormal. Another story I have is a group of friends and I were walking through, and one of them stops dead and refuses to go any further and wants to go back to the car. When we return, he swore he kept hearing a woman crying and footsteps behind us. Spooky. That's what it says. This person is called Exo Honeytree. A friend of mine told me that they had luck going to a cemetery with a tape recorder and talking to the graves. The idea is that you play the tape recorder back later at high volume and you can hear responses. Unfortunately, the only thing they heard was a shrill scream in the background. starting midway through the recording and lasting until the end. First of all, that's fucking scary.
So that's not odd at all.
Thinking this would be interesting, some friends and I got together and tried this ourselves. The recording scared us all so badly that we actually threw away the tape recorder.
Why?
Right?
You need to share this.
What was on there? My friend asked a grave, "What's it like to be dead?" And the response on the recording was painful, low howl. Truly creeped me out.
That's creepy, man.
Yeah, that is.
I imagine like a gravesite is just, or a graveyard is just full of screaming.
All right. It's like, God, we're in hell. Help us when you die. It's really bad.
Oh my God. That just makes you fear death even more. You're
like, yeah,
I really don't want to die now.
Jesus.
Okay, so let's wrap up the Black Hope curse. So Ben and Jean were plagued with more issues as within a few months, 6 of their close family members were diagnosed with cancer.
What?
3 of which passed away. They personally believed that the sickness was caused from the spirits in their home. Like, it's such a coincidence.
Yeah, it is.
Like 6 of your family members within short time, are diagnosed with cancer. Now, going back to our first family we covered, Sam and Judith, they decided that it was time to take legal action against the developers for not disclosing the fact that their neighborhood was, built on a gravesite. Seems like something you'd want to, mention.
Dude, it's recycling. They're just trying to help the environment.
Sure. They were awarded $142,400 by the jury for mental anguish. Don't get too excited, though, because the ruling was reversed as the judge ruled that the developer was not responsible. The verdict was thrown out, and Sam and Judith were ordered to pay $50,000 in court costs, which led them to filing for bankruptcy.
Damn.
Yeah, that's rough. So now we're going back to the second family, Ben and Jean, as they also followed suit with legal action. The developers asked for proof that the cemetery had even existed. They're like, okay, hey, if you can prove to us that it's there, because we don't believe it's there, right? Jean took actions into her own hands and began to dig in her backyard looking for any kind of remains. Shortly after digging, she fell ill and needed to stop. Her daughter Tina stepped in to continue the work, and after a half hour, she too became sick and felt dizzy. She went to lay on the couch and only started to feel worse. Ben called for an ambulance, and she was rushed off to the hospital. They stated she suffered from a massive heart attack and unfortunately passed away 2 days later at only 30 years old.
What is this, Skinwalker Ranch?
30 years old,
Don't dig.
It must be connected some way. Jean believes that she died by supernatural forces. Due to the unfortunate ruling in court, Ben and Jean lost all of their investments and fled to Montana. They did later return to Texas, but moved to another subdivision, obviously. The residents in their old neighborhood have not reported any new paranormal activity, and no one can explain truly what happened to the Haneys and the Williams. So it's kind of cool, but this story was actually featured on Unsolved Mysteries, Season 12, Episode 7, so if you want to watch it, you can. I watched it when I was doing the research. It's pretty intense, but yeah, that's the Black Hope curse.
Nice. Let's wrap up the cemetery stories. This one is by Deleted. I'm from a small town, and when we were younger, we'd go out on the back roads and drink.
Yeah.
That's fun. I've never done that.
That's fun.
One night, we had parked on the side of the road by a small cemetery and walked over to the bridge nearby. The bridge was only about 100 feet or so, as it only spanned a small creek. The road dipped down to the cross of the bridge and then went back up on the other side. This was a few miles from the state highway, and a train track followed the highway. Since a car turning on the road toward us had to hop the tracks, we could see the headlights flash and knew in a while we'd have to get off the bridge. This only happened about once an hour or so, and we had been there for a while, and we had already moved for one car. We saw another car jump the tracks and made a note that we'd have to move in a few minutes. There was a road that turned into some houses, and sometimes we'd walk off the bridge to only see the lights turn away. And this time, we decided, let's wait and see. Plenty of time to get out of the way. You could hear the car as it approached. We went back to talking. I think someone was in the middle of a story or joke or something. Then someone said, "Well, hey, did that car turn?" We all looked toward the highway, realizing at once we never heard it, and more than enough time had passed. We saw no lights. This made no sense, and in our synchronized group confusion, we all did a 180. As soon as we focused on the other side of the bridge, we saw the red taillights of the car climbing the road upward from the bridge. We heard the car as soon as we saw it. After a moment of shock, we tried to talk it out. We all knew that there was no road or anything between us, and we saw the taillights, but we asked each other anyway. We even looked closely when we left and made sure. Nothing but a tiny back road going over the bridge and then ditches. The house or road was miles from the bridge. It doesn't make sense. We never figured it out. It's like we lost a few minutes of time. A small cemetery was rumored to be creepy. Me and my girlfriend one night were in it looking at the tree line and saw some red glowing eyes. So I guess we're going to another story.
So that was a very quick transition to a new story.
Just to explain that story. So I guess the car has to go past the bridge. Mm-hmm. They don't recall moving, but when they look back, the car had already passed. So they lost time.
Usually time lost is, associated with alien abduction.
Yeah, just a creepy car now.
It's the aliens.
Now he's in the woods with his girlfriend, cemetery, sorry.
So he lost a lot of time.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and then we were in the woods with my girlfriend.
Yeah, and he sees glowing red eyes. Back to first person. Now, sure, you shine a light into the woods and the eyes reflect it. The animal freezes. But there was no light shining in the woods. No bright moon, nothing. And those eyes sat there for a long time. We talked to each other about what we saw and never figured it out either. During the day, we went down to the trees and looked into the area, thinking maybe it was a reflector shining weird, or something like that, even though there was no light for it to reflect. But there was nothing but woods. All right, this one is from Mocha McCrazy. My mom loves going to old cemeteries and looking at headstones. We have a little cemetery in our town that's pretty old. The back of the cemetery dates back to the mid to late 1800s. We were out there looking around, and my mom said she wanted to go back to the old part. As we were walking, a crow dropped dead out of the sky at our feet. I have never left somewhere so fast in my life.
He's like, hell no.
We never went back in, and it still gives me this weird feeling whenever I drive by. I would leave. That's like, you need to go.
Yeah, that's an omen from hell. That's just not good. Like, let's go check this out. Big old crow drops at your feet.
Jesus. And the last story is Haunted 115.
Ooh.
I've had a couple of odd experiences, but I've never seen anything in a cemetery. I go around to local cemeteries and take photos of gravestones and upload them to Find a Gravesite. The first experience happened while a friend and I were taking photos. I knew that my ex's family and some members buried there, but I couldn't recall exactly where. As I was walking around, all of a sudden, I got a powerful chill and had goosebumps all over on an 80-degree Fahrenheit day. I was showing my friend my arms with the goosebumps and hair standing up. I looked down, and there was the family name I was looking for. I guess they decided to help me find them. At another cemetery, I was taking pictures of the stones. I got to one particular headstone and I kneeled down. As I looked at the stone, I got what felt like an ice pick through the skull. Right? Blinding pain for a few seconds and a headache that lasted for the rest of the day.
I died. Because that's what would happen if you took an ice pick to the brain.
I was missing pieces of my face.
My face just exploded.
When I felt that pain, I realized I was at an infant stone. I still have the photo if anyone would like to see it and try to get a feeling from the picture. I wonder since if the baby died from some kind of head trauma. So let's pull up the picture. We'll put it on YouTube for you guys. And that's sad. Little Everett. It's like a tiny little...
Yeah.
That makes you real sad. Well, we don't want to end on a sad note, so let's get Chris on the spirit box.
I do think, though, too, we should at some point, if we can arrange it, try and do like an episode with the ghost box in a cemetery.
Yeah, it'd be easy.
We should do that at some point because I feel like we'd get a lot of conversation.
Oh right. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the ghost box set up. So you'll probably hear instant static here in a second. So let's go ahead and see if we can talk to Chris. And my wife did give me a question she wants to ask the spirit box.
Oh, I'm excited.
So let's go ahead and let's hopefully get Chris on the line here.
Hey Chris, we're back. How are you?
Ahoy. You say ahoy?
Yeah, maybe. I like Chris.
Sorry it's been so long, Chris. What have you been up to?
I felt like there was something there.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, do you remember my name?
Come on.
Come on.
Chris, do you remember my name? Okay, Chris, or whoever else is listening, my wife had a question she wanted me to ask. The question is, are essential oils bullshit?
I heard it's good. What? Essential oils, good or bad? Nothing.
Wow, being real quiet right now, Chris.
How many ghosts are in here right now? How many people are we talking to?
Seven? I thought I heard 7. 8?
Someone just joined. 8! So, no one watches me sleep, right? All of them.
All of us.
Yes, they did that in the last one.
Dude, you have a paparazzi when you sleep.
They said that in a prior episode.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's a whole fucking show.
Chris, what was your favorite food when you were alive? What the hell was that?
He said what?
Yeah, that was crazy. What was your favorite food? Cheese?
Yeah, maybe. Alright, do I snore? People want to know from the audience.
Okay, I have a question that we read on this episode. What does it feel like to be dead?
Algae. What's it like being dead?
Come on, don't be bashful. Is it a party or is it just a big drag?
Is hay real? Is there any, like, demons that live in this house at least? Can you tell me that?
Tom?
Did you say your mom?
Tom? Whoa.
So if there's any demons, Britain is willing to be your vessel. He's ready to be possessed right now. All you gotta say is spaghetti. Your loss.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up. Hope you all are enjoying your time in the abyss.
Have a good night, ghosts.
Always a good time.
I like talking to the ghosts.
So obviously during the edits and stuff, we'll pick up a little bit more, and we'll try and clean it up just because there's a lot of empty areas. But if you hear anything that we missed when you're listening, of course, always let us know what you heard. My wife actually, in one of the episodes, I remember we were doing it, and she's like, I heard your name crystal clear. And I had not listened to it, and I listened, and it was like literally crystal clear.
Yeah.
Crystal clear. I was like,
I put in the titles and everything.
It's nuts.
Well, guys, very exciting. We're at 155 subscribers on YouTube. So
thank you much.
We're 15% there for monetization. If you feel like we earned it, you like listening to our show, please subscribe. We'd like to start earning pennies on our show. As always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.